Look at any clock. The hands always turn the same way, right and down and around. We call it clockwise, like it's the most natural thing in the world. Most people assume it has to go that way, that there's some rule of the universe behind it. There isn't. Nothing in physics says time turns right. The direction on your wall is an accident, and it came from a shadow cast by the sun thousands of years ago. To find out why, go back before gears, before springs. The first device that tracked the day was a stick in the ground. The Egyptians used shadow clocks around 1500 BC. A vertical rod called a gnomon throws a shadow onto the ground. As the sun crosses the sky, that shadow moves. People marked where it fell, hour by hour. And that sweep is the whole reason your clock turns the way it does. Here's the key. In the northern half of the world, where almost all early timekeeping happened, the sun rises in the east, climbs across the southern sky, and sets in the west. But a shadow points the opposite way from the sun. So as the sun travels east to west, the shadow sweeps the other direction. From west, swinging down past north, around to the east. Picture standing behind a sundial, looking south. In the morning, the shadow falls to your left. By noon, it points straight ahead. By evening, it's swung to your right, left, down, around, to the right. That's what we call clockwise. People stared at sundials for thousands of years. That shadow became their picture of time itself. When the first machines imitated the sun, there was never a choice. But that raises a strange question. What if you weren't standing in the north? Because the shadow only sweeps that way in the Northern Hemisphere. Cross the equator, and the sun does something unsettling. At noon, it sits to the north instead of the south. On a flat sundial down there, the shadow runs the other way, counterclockwise. If the great clock-building cities had grown up in the south instead, clockwise would mean the exact opposite of what it means to you now. The direction isn't written into time, it's written into a map. And then mechanical clocks made the accident permanent. The earliest ones, built in Europe around 1270, didn't even have a face. They just rang bells. But when clockmakers added a dial with hands, in the 1300s, they copied the only picture of time anyone had, the sundial. The hands followed the shadow, the gears simply obeyed. A shadow on Egyptian sand became the reason a watch on your wrist turns right. And here's the proof that it was never a law, just a habit. Some clockmakers refused to follow it. In Florence, inside the great cathedral, there's a clock painted in 1443. Its single hand runs backwards, counting 24 hours from sunset. It still works today, the only one of its kind left running anywhere. In Münster, a cathedral clock from the 1540s turns the same backward way. And in Prague, a clock with Hebrew numerals runs counterclockwise too. These clocks tell perfect time. They just chose a different direction. So the direction you've trusted your whole life isn't a rule. It's a shadow cast by a northern sun, copied onto a stick, then onto a dial. Stand on the other side of the planet, and time would seem to run the other way. We didn't discover which way time turns. We just happened to be standing in the right spot to guess. The most natural thing in the world turns out to be a lucky accident. I'm Boxley. Follow along and let's go time traveling again.